Hey, it's Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. Okay, so I am sick of the government revising data to show what they want to show, right? I'm kind of sick of that. We see it time after time with the non-farm payroll numbers. We've created this many jobs, and then like 2 months later, they revise the numbers down, and guess what? They didn't recreate that many jobs. It was great for a headline, and it kept the market going, but the data gets revised down. So now the Census Bureau and Housing and Urban Development have done this for housing prices since 2020. And by doing so, they have revised out 25% of the pandemic price hike that we saw peak in late of 2022, just about when the interest rate hikes started to take place. Remember that? So, yeah, it's just unbelievable. So check out this article from Wolf Street, which is a website I recommend. And by the way, you can get over to the Wolf Street and read this whole article, but we do have it linked in the description. And Census Bureau revises away 25% of the pandemic-era price spike of new single-family homes. This was posted last week, but a couple of people are talking about this on YouTube. I thought it was definitely worth an additional video, and a couple of people on X. But when we scroll down to the chart that they have put together based upon a 3-month moving average, basically on this the old numbers, which are the blue line, prices for single family homes peaked in October 2020 at about 480,000. And then they revised, and then it dipped down as the interest rates started to take effect. And I remember making videos like, oh, what a big difference interest rates have made. And they settled down somewhere in the 420-ish range. So if we get the numbers here, old prices went from 330 in April 2020 to 480 in October of 2022. And in other words, they revised down $38,000 in the pricing, or 25% of the 150,000 pandemic era spike. So basically what they're saying is the new red line is what happened. And sure, prices went up a lot as they did in 21 and 22, but since then they've been mostly headed sideways. And what you would draw a conclusion from this, of course, is that the interest rate hikes have had no impact on housing prices. Right? And that there wasn't a bubble in late October of 2022. No bubble then. And also no bubble now. If you look at this number, there's not a bubble now. Okay, sure. Except for today's headlines show us exactly an opposite story. Today's headline, U.S. prices hit another record high in March. CNN, U.S. home prices reached a record high in March, reflecting the housing market's persistent affordability crisis, according to Case-Shiller, who just came out today. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Case-Shiller because they tend to run a little laggy. It's, mid to late March. It's late May now, and they're only coming out with the March numbers. But okay, then here they are with March numbers saying that there's a new price record, which would be consistent with what we're seeing in Massachusetts. But if you go to the federal new numbers, which is the red line, there's no new price record. So not only did the spike not happen in October of 2022, but we're not having a spike now either. And if you go to the Redfin index, what's that guy? I don't know why that advertising's stuck in the middle of my chart. That's too bad. If you go to the Redfin index, let's see if we can correct that and go like this instead. That's better. If you go to the Redfin index, they have also hit a new price peak on April 1st of 2024. And if you go over to the month, they had a big drop in the index starting from March of 2022 down to August of 2022, and then a little bit creep up. So that didn't happen. If I had to choose between the federal government and Case-Shiller or Zillow or Redfin, I'm going with the private sector on this, because when you come out and you revise your numbers to such an extent that you basically blow away 25% of your previously reported price hike, where is your credibility? I mean, you got no credibility. Basically, you're putting all of those numbers that you put out for the last 4 years, you're basically putting them down the memory hole. Where's my Orwell poster? Here it is here. Here's my Orwell poster, which hangs in the office. Here's my Orwell poster. And basically, you're just putting everything down the memory hole, right? You make a laughing stock out of the data. How can anybody believe the census data, housing, urban development pricing data that they ever put out again when they completely just, we're going to just revise it? 4 years. We screwed up so bad that we're just revising the entire data set since the beginning of the pandemic. We, as the government, we effed up so bad that we're just going to send up a totally new numbers. Of course, when you do that, when you put up totally new numbers, then you can say there was no bubble. Where have I heard that before?
Homes that are occupied may see an ebb and flow in the price at a certain percentage level, but you're not going to see the collapse that you see when people talk about a bubble. And so
you're not going to see the collapse when people talk about a bubble, because we're just going to revise it away. And there's no bubble now. Absolutely, there is no bubble now, notwithstanding the fact that U.S. home prices hit another record high in March. There's no bubble. You're not going to see a bubble. Barney Frank he was right in 2005, and he was right in 2024, 19 years later. Why? Because we're just going to revise that bubble right away. Bye-bye, bubble. Now, for my Massachusetts viewers, we have not seen that much, if anything, of a dip down from 2022, right? We haven't seen much of a dip at all because the Northeast has been a consistent outperformer relative to the rest of the country, where we really have seen a lot of price volatility, and including just dramatic drop, has been mostly in Western markets. I'm looking at you, Austin, Texas, right? You're kind of the poster child of having a peak and then a dip down, right? Austin is probably the number one, but we've seen that in other locations across the West. The Northeast has been, and I'm from Massachusetts, obviously, very resilient. But when you look at this number and when you look at this chart, but again, excellent work here by Wolf Street. You can't help but saying to yourself, how can I ever trust these numbers again? If you don't want to do the 3-month moving average, you can look just for kicks at the actual month-to-month number, which they also did against the blue was the prior reported number, and the red is the new number. And they make this information so impossible to understand that I really want to, once again, credit Wolf Street with coming up with these charts so that you can understand it. But in no way can you ever again trust federal government to report housing pricing with any accuracy at all. That's why if you're an agent or a broker and you're not doing your own monthly market report, you should be doing it based upon your own MLS data, whether it's for your town or your county or whatever you want to do. You know that I do one for the town of Plymouth, where I broadcast to you from here. And I also do one for statewide in Massachusetts. And you know that I do that for a couple of reasons. One, to kind of fact check everybody else. And two, it does bring in clients, number two. And number three, it keeps me on top of the data. It's kind of like showing my homework. by doing the report, I am then now prepared when somebody asks me, like at the barbershop or whatever, what's going on with the market, Jack? I have the answer because I've done the reports. And those videos prepare me to answer those questions very knowledgeably. And the hell with U.S. government data, you cannot trust that like forever again. All right, let's just see. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think that pretty much covers it. I was fired up by that. And I don't like to see misleading government reports and then just, we're just going to revise it. We're just going to revise it. All right, go make some money. And yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.